Hi, my name's Giles Lane. I'm one of the two directors of Proboscis, which is a creative studio, and by that what we mean is we're somewhere between an arts organisation, a research organisation, and perhaps a design studio. And we work in the non-profit sector. And I'm not going to present anything because I kind of get a little bit tired of PowerPoint. And we do quite a lot of publishing, and we make things. We make things, real things, tangible things, as well as digital objects and digital systems. So I left out one of the maps. This is for everybody about the key project that I'm going to talk about today, that sort of reflects on some of the issues of working with mobile phones that Tom's talked about, and also some of the ideas that Demetrius had mentioned earlier. So rather than have you look at something on screen, there's something to take away. It's just to sort of give a background. What I really want to do and talk about very briefly is some of the research that we've been doing into the use of new technologies, and particularly in relation to location, what was called location-based services 7 or 8, even 10 years ago. It stopped being called that for a while. Maybe it's being called that again. These things do tend to be cyclical, but very much connecting to ubiquitous computing, pervasive computing, those kinds of concepts. And the basic thing that we were interested in, starting from about the year 2000, and we've run a series of projects and research programs exploring the relationship between people, everyday life, public space, and particularly mobile technologies, but more broadly than just mobile. And what we're really interested in is well, what are people? Why are people going to use these technologies, and what are they actually going to do with them? And the background to that was I used to work for the Royal College of Art in what was then the computer-related design research studio. We did a number of big research projects with the likes of Philips and Intel and a variety of other HP and some, Helsinki Telecom around the kind of emerging mobile platforms in the late 1990s. And even by 2001, 2002, pretty much all the location-based service projects coming out were of one particular type, and they were aimed only at tourists. Every university had done it that had a mobile group in its research department, had done a tourism offer. Mostly they'd collaborated with Vodafone, Orange, and the other kind of likely candidates. And it was just staggering that the only vision and the only idea for mobile phones was sort of tourist guidebooks. And this kind of struck us as being problematic, because coming from a more kind of creative and cultural point of view, we're kind of aware that people aren't tourists for much of their life. So our kind of initial approach around 2000, 2001 was to talk to some of our colleagues in academia and in the industry and say to them, well, if people are only tourists for between 2 and 4 weeks of the year, due to how wealthy they are, what are you thinking about for the other 48 to 50 weeks of their everyday life? And the answer was unanimous that no one had thought of it that way. So we set out in 2002 to develop a project that would begin to look at what do people do every day, on their way to work, on their way to school, going shopping, hanging out in the park, those kinds of things. What are the quality of their interactions with the environment around them? And I mean that in the very broad sense of the environment, the social environment, the cultural environment, the ecological environment. And how could we maybe use these emerging platforms and technologies, and the incredible, which at the time was still very much a pipe dream, the incredible potential of converging mobile communications and geoinformation sort of maps, so Google Maps basically, as it has become, which was a real pipe dream in sort of the early 2000s that this stuff would be possible. So we set up this research project called Urban Tapestries, which was to try and understand, by working with a variety of different people, some local communities, but even at that time, mostly other people that we were encountering in the creative and research world, about what sort of things they thought this could be used for. And then we built a prototype, which we tested in 2003. We built two prototypes actually. We built one that well, there's the back end side to it, but there was an iPack and a Wi-Fi based model. So I think we put the first wireless mesh network in a city in the UK together, and we did it in Bloomsbury for about 10 days. And people sort of came and borrowed a wireless iPack and wandered around and left stories and took pictures and created what we called threads and pockets of information. And then we did a second version about 6 months later using a mobile phone network. And we sort of partnered up with people like Orange and France Telecom to do the technical side of things and on the